Imagine looking up at the sky in a world where birds didn't yet exist, where no birdsong, no beating of wings filled the air. The sky was empty, silent. The trees were immense. Dinosaurs dominated the land, and the oceans were ruled by sea monsters. For millions of years, the skies were unowned, until, little by little, an unlikely lineage began to write one of evolution's most extraordinary success stories, a story of feathers, wings, and survival. This is the incredible journey of how birds conquered the skies. To understand birds, we need to go back to the late Jurassic period, more than 150 million years ago. This was a time when dinosaurs dominated every corner of the Earth. But what few imagined is that among these giant reptiles lay the seed for something seemingly improbable: flight. Today, we know that birds aren't just descendants of dinosaurs, they are living dinosaurs. Their group evolved from carnivorous theropods, relatives of fearsome predators like Velociraptor. Fossils found in China and Europe reveal stunning details: dinosaurs with colorful feathers, evidence of wings, and even early attempts at flight. These discoveries overturn the long-held view that separated birds from dinosaurs. The flapping wings we see around us today, in the simple flight of a sparrow or the majesty of an eagle, are actually the continuation of a lineage that dates back to the period when reptiles reigned supreme. The first feathers, but which came first, feathers or flight? Evidence suggests that feathers arose long before flight. Small dinosaurs like Sinosauropteryx already had filamentous coverings that functioned as rudimentary feathers. Initially, they served as thermal insulation. After all, these animals were warm-blooded and needed to conserve heat. Later, feathers evolved for display purposes, attracting mates, intimidating rivals, or camouflaging themselves in their environments. Color was also a key element. Microscopic studies of fossils have revealed that some dinosaurs had shiny, perhaps even metallic feathers, similar to those of hummingbirds. These feathers weren't yet used for flight, but they were laying the foundation for the greatest evolutionary revolution to come. The first flight? Among these feathered dinosaurs, some began to develop more complex feathers on their arms, asymmetrical feathers, essential for generating lift in the air. And that's when creatures like Microraptor entered the scene. This small predator had wings not only on its arms but also on its legs. Using its four wings, it glided from tree to tree, chasing prey in the understory of early Cretaceous forests. It didn't fly like a modern eagle, but it was already experimenting with something new, using its body to conquer the air. Each successful gliding attempt represented an evolutionary advantage, and over millions of years, this ability became more refined. The most famous fossil of this transition is Archaeopteryx, discovered in Bavaria, Germany, in 1861. Measuring about 50 centimeters, it exhibited an intriguing combination. It had wings with long, asymmetrical feathers, ideal for flight. But it also possessed sharp teeth, clawed wings, and a long, bony tail. It was half bird, half dinosaur. Archaeopteryx probably wasn't a great flyer. Perhaps it was more of a glider, using its wings to launch itself from trees and escape predators. But it represented the point of no return, the era when some dinosaurs had stopped being mere runners and reached the treetops and the skies, the bones that remained empty. The evolution of flight required drastic changes to the body. A key factor was the transformation of bones. Birds now have pneumatic bones, light, hollow, and filled with air. This drastically reduced weight without compromising strength. At the same time, the pectoral muscles became larger and more robust, attached to an elongated sternum, forming the famous keel that gives strength to the wings. And that's not all. Their respiratory system became unique. Unlike mammals, which breathe by filling and emptying their lungs, birds developed air sacs that allow a continuous flow of oxygen. This system is extremely efficient and provides enough energy for them to maintain flight for long periods. Without these biological engineerings, flight as we know it would not exist. The taking of the heavens. With these adaptations, the skies finally gained masters. During the Cretaceous, primitive birds like Confuciusornis already had toothless beaks, short tails, and modern wings. The Enantiornithes, a vast and diverse group, spread across the globe, occupying diverse niches, from insect hunters to waterfowl resembling modern birds. These birds coexisted for millions of years with pterosaurs, the giant winged relatives of reptiles. The skies were, for the first time, contested. But while pterosaurs grew in size, reaching wingspans of 10 meters, birds opted for a different strategy: diversity, small, fast, multifunctional. It was the war of adaptation, gigantism versus versatility, the great extinction, and then came the impact. 66 million years ago, a colossal asteroid struck present-day Mexico, triggering the worst crisis for life since the Permian extinction. Flames ravaged forests. Dust clouds blanketed the planet, blocking sunlight. The food chain collapsed. Land-dwelling dinosaurs like the T-Rex and hadrosaurs disappeared. Giant pterosaurs also perished. But some groups of birds survived, as small size, ability to hide in shelters, varied diet, and above all, a seed-based diet. While many animals died without food, some birds managed to subsist on seeds protected in the ground, waiting for the opportunity to germinate. This detail may have been the difference between extinction and survival. As the ashes of extinction began to dissipate, birds were among the few large survivors. With no pterosaurs or giant dinosaurs, the skies were clear for their ultimate conquest. What followed was an explosion of diversity. In just a few tens of millions of years, birds spread to every environment: forests, deserts, islands, and oceans. They evolved incredible forms and functions: hunting eagles, physics-defying hummingbirds, penguins that traded air for water. Today there are more than 10,000 different bird species, and they all share that same heritage: feathers, hollow bones, and unique breathing. A continuous line connecting ancient dinosaurs to every dove, every hawk, and every seagull that flies our skies. Birds' conquest of the skies wasn't just an evolutionary victory, it was the birth of one of the planet's most successful stories. They transformed the air into territory, forests into runways, and the winds into invisible highways. When we see a hummingbird hovering motionless in front of a flower, or an albatross gliding thousands of kilometers without landing, we are witnessing millions of years of evolution marked by tragedies, falls, and victories. Birds didn't just conquer the sky. They conquered eternal survival, becoming the last living dinosaurs on the planet. What began as feathers to keep small reptiles warm has become wings that span oceans. What began as a modest adaptation has become an evolutionary revolution. Birds are dinosaurs. They are the unlikely victory in a world destroyed by an asteroid strike. They are creatures that expanded life's horizons into the wind, into airspace previously inaccessible, and so the heavens gained their eternal masters. Birds are much more than just animals that adorn our skies. They're the last dinosaurs, heirs to a lineage that defied the impossible and conquered gravity itself. When you hear the flapping of a sparrow's wings or the silent flight of an owl, remember, you are witnessing an evolutionary miracle that began more than 150 million years ago. Now I want to hear from you. Which modern bird fascinates you the most, and why? Write in the comments. Your answer may appear in an upcoming episode. If this journey through the past of life has inspired you, leave a like so that more people can discover this story. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to continue exploring the greatest revolutions in evolution with me.